Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening. We have a special episode today. My guest today is a journalist currently reporting in Texas. We talk about the current pandemic situation and the experience of being out there every day, gathering news and reporting from the field with the current situation the way it is. But we also have some lighthearted moments as we explore the rise of a bright journalist with an amazing career ahead of her. I have no doubt she will win many awards recognizing her hard work. This is the journey of Elisa Navarro. DJ, roll that music. So, Eliza, thank you so much again for doing this podcast with me here.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. So tell me, first of all, let's just start off with what have you been up to these days?
Well, obviously, right now with coronavirus and the crisis happening around the world, there's been a lot of things that are changing in our industry, from the way we work as a team. And I think every journalist across, America is going through this, and I'm sure in other parts of the world. So I think right now with my experiences, I guess as a reporter, we work from our vehicles and on the field a lot, but having to work from home as much as possible and FaceTime or Zoom meetings for interviews as much as possible has been a little bit different. And just working with management while they learn how to work from home when you're used to being in the newsroom, the EP stands up and says, "This just broke, 5 minutes till show, get in the booth, I'll put it in there." It's different to be working remotely from their aspect than being in the newsroom and being able to communicate in that second. So I think our experience or my experience lately has been a little drastic and different, but I think that's something a lot of journalists can relate to with everything going on, and we're at the forefront of it. So we're always out there.
Exactly. Well, and in your case, you have to go out in the field and interview people. Have you been using any new tech toys, technology, any new gadgets that are helping you kind of keep your distance and stay safe?
I actually have. Last time you and I talked, I was talking about how I'm still trying to figure out how to figure out the whole mic situation. And I found, or one of my managers found a couple of like those the poles to put a mic on, the poles to stand them on. And he was like, "Use this." And so he let me bring it home with all my gear. And I literally put the stick mic on the mic stand, place it where I want my interview to be, set up my shot from a distance. I normally do interviews from a distance anyway. I'm not a big fan of hand holding the mic while MMJing. I like controlling my shot or adding depth to my shot. So I'm big on using lav mics. So now with this, I put the mic where I want the shot to be. I'm far away regardless, as a normal thing for me. And then just have the person stand by the mic. And I'm like, okay, just go ahead and look at me. It picks up just fine. I guess my struggle with that, though, is I like having creative shots and I like having super wide shots during certain parts of the interview and super close ones. And I can't do the super wide shots because the mic stand is there. But those are some new little tricks I've been doing. And of course, I literally carry Lysol wipes and Lysol spray in my go bag. And I'm constantly cleaning my camera, or cleaning the mics, or even cleaning the steering wheel of the car I'm using because we still share cars. And being super careful with that and aware of my surroundings and where I'm at. But I try not to be out doing interviews, but I still go out and about to shoot my B-roll. It is a little emptier in the streets anyway, so I can have some fun and shoot what I need for my packages. But I mean, I think the mic stand's been the biggest thing I've done.
And have you just started working remotely, or has that been a thing even before this pandemic broke out? When you, as an MMJ, I mean, I'm sure you probably are used to remote work, or not. I don't know. What is the situation there? Were you doing remote work before the pandemic broke out?
Yes, from my car, but I wasn't coming home. So, like, if
Mm-hmm.
Central Texas is such a large area to cover. We just recently got a new reporter and a new photographer in our Brazos County area, which is about an hour and a half, hour 45 away from my station. So occasionally, when something big happened or we covered a big story, myself or my coworker, we'd take the drive down there at 2 o'clock to cover this because it's still our coverage area, and we were waiting for our new teammates to be on board. So yeah, we were working from our vehicle. Sometimes I'd go to a Starbucks depending on the time that I had. But I'm used to having everything with me in my car. I'm the girl who carries a backpack as the purse and this black like tote bag as my go bag, where I have everything I need if I was to stay the night somewhere. Um, and so I'm used to working from my vehicle. My vehicle's like my little office. So working remotely is normal for me in that regards. But now the only difference is that if I have an interview 10 minutes away from the station and I'm in the early shows and I'm done early, I'm no longer at the station like I'm used to. Now I come home and work from my kitchen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be the only difference, but it feels fine, honestly. I guess, the difference is I'm not sitting on my desk with my coworkers and I'm night side and day side. So both shifts are also very different when you're in the newsroom. Um, so I guess now I'm used to working remotely fully, which is a little weird, but I had done it partially, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like you are very prepared for whatever comes your way, which is
Literally.
great. Yeah. How did you pick up those skills? Because I've worked with reporters, MMJs before, that they're not prepared at all. So how did you get those skills?
When I was in Bakersfield, my first market, one of my mentors, Elisa Flores, someone I adore, she was the person I got to shadow. The first person I got to. I mean, I shadowed a lot of reporters during my internships in college, but being on like as an official MMJ, she was the person I shadowed at the station, where kind of things got a little more serious. Like, I'm getting paid to do this now. Um, and I just remember she gave me a checklist and was like, don't ever leave the station without any of these things, and the checklist had like extra batteries, double check your mics, double check that you have an extra SD card, double check this, your makeup, like all this stuff. And I remember over there, a lot of stuff happened in Bakersfield, and she actually got sent, I think it was her and a couple of other coworkers up the, I can't remember the Kern Canyon. I'm not too sure, but she was sent somewhere far away overnight and just had to have her go bag ready. So watching other reporters in my first station and watching the things they were doing with at the market I was at was very big on news for being a small market. So I was able to see so many things where I was like, oh, I need to prepare for that. And I always overpack, that's how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've had my mistakes, where I forgot my batteries and I forgot to grab extra batteries. So and I've seen other reporters not go live because their battery died and they forgot to pack another one. That
Wow.
hasn't happened to me, luckily. But I've observed, I'm very observant. So I've just learned so much from watching. And ever since then, it just became a priority to have my go bag with extra water bottles, extra snacks, my umbrellas in there, my cat. I always carry a polo and black jeans in there if I'm not wearing jeans and a shirt that day, and if I'm wearing my dress. Um, I just always have so much stuff in there. Like, I walk in with this huge bag and, I'm used to it and everyone's used to seeing me with it, but I have everything I need in there. Um, and in my backpack, is where I put my mics and my extra batteries and everything that I need, because that's what I carry with me while I'm carrying the camera and doing 3,000 things. So I don't know. I've always been like that anyway, like always having extra of everything. And in this job, the last thing you want to do is call your news director or your producer and say, I can't go live because my batteries died. That's
Hmm.
the last thing you want to do when that's your job as a reporter, to be prepared. Like you just want to cancel out anything that can possibly happen that could be avoidable 100%. Um,
Hmm.
but things
Yeah, no,
still happen, like
mhm.
technology happens. So,
Yeah.
but I try for my own sake.
Yeah, that's and I know exactly what you mean because I'm the same way. Even if I have to invest my own money in getting a certain tool
Same.
that I need,
That's me.
I yeah, I do it because truth be told, some of these smaller stations in small markets, they may not have the money to get certain tools for everybody or for a specific person, or might not be willing to invest the money, or just it might take forever to get that tool. But for me, the way that I've seen things is, okay, well, I need this tool now. I can either later get reimbursed for it, or I can just invest in it. I mean, the technology has gotten so much more simpler and cheaper too, cheaply priced stuff that I anybody can afford. And for me, I see it as a way to make my job better with less stress for myself, which in the end, that's kind of like what I enjoy. I want to do my job, but I want to kind of be independent, where I don't have to necessarily worry about what equipment I have and not have to make it easier and look good. So, like, for
Yeah,
example, what we're doing now, I mean, this is great. We're not face to face, but it sounds pretty good thanks to technology.
exactly. Yep.
So it's great to hear all this great advice that you have on how you're dealing with just either remote work, but also just in your day-to-day work doing news as an MMJ. That's awesome. And was Fresno your first job out of college? Because I know you and I started talking when you were still in college, and you were trying to break into the news industry. But had you done anything else before then, before Fresno?
No, so Fresno is where I went to school and where I interned. And then
Uh
my
huh.
first market was in Bakersfield. So actually, when I had reached out to you after the Malibu boot camp that happened, that was
Hmm.
my senior year, fall of senior year. And then that's when I was, job hunting that spring. Um, and I got an offer in Bakersfield. So in Fresno, I was lucky because although it's a very small program and I don't think it's as known as your typical, ASU um, university program, but we have amazing professors there. And I say we like if I was still there. We got so much talent in the multimedia department, in the radio department, in the broadcast department. And if you put in the work, and I think that's how it is in any place. If you put in the work, it's going to work. And
Hmm.
so we had just amazing professors that I owe my career to, who I was always, I lived in our newsroom basically at Fresno State, but that's where I learned everything. That's where I interned everywhere. I interned at ABC 30. I interned at Fox 26. There were no internships at the other two stations, but NBC and CBS. But I did go there often, and I worked for Telemundo, and I went to Univision whenever I could. So I was constantly networking and learning there, and I felt like I worked there because I was so involved in the industry, but I was just a student. But I did work in
Hmm.
Telemundo, but that was the promotions department, not the news department. And then right afterwards, I got a job. I got my job. I said yes like a week and a half before graduating, and then I
Wow.
didn't start till July 4th. So it all, Bakersfield was my first experience, which was a crazy market. I was only there for 1 year and then I transferred, or not, I guess transfer isn't the word, but I was there for 1 year and then I came to Waco, Texas because Scripps bought a station here and I'm with Scripps. So that's kind of my little
Hmm.
journey. I didn't get to do any news,
Yeah.
work in Fresno. It was more of experiences, networking, internships, and stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you this. So, you're working in the news business, especially as you're working your way up and you're getting started in your career. That's not the easiest thing in the world. So what about news? Like, what made you want to get into the news business?
People. I know that's like your typical answer, I love telling stories, you get this answer all the time, but I never wanted to be a reporter, first of all. Like, I wanted to work in a television station. I used to be like, when I was little, I'd always watch TV, and I'm Hispanic, and I grew up watching Univision. I used to be like, oh my God, I want to work at this Despierta America when I grow up. Like, that was my dream, right?
Mhm.
And so I always wanted to work for a Hispanic television station. And I remember I was always observing things about the shows. Like, I'd be like, well, somebody had to switch from this wide shot. At the time, I didn't know the names, but I'd be like, from that big shot to like her face, like something, and someone is making this work. It's not just the talent. It's not just like, I knew there was way more to a show from behind the scenes to in front of the scenes. And I was like, that is so cool. Like, I just remember thinking, I want to work at a fast paced, high level stress, high energy, OCD kind of thing, because that's how we all are, type A personalities. And I was like, I want to be in that, but I didn't know what, which is why I went to Fresno State. Because I wanted to stay close to home. I wanted to stay at a university where I could still explore, because I knew it was still a good market versus like running to LA or something. To kind of
Mhm.
dip my toes, because my first internship was Valley PBS, where I transcribed and learned and wrote, and it was just so much fun as a freshman, because as a freshman you don't really find internships. So that was fun. It was really volunteer work. And so anyway, I dipped my toes in as many TV stations as I could. And then the more I did it, the more I got into news, which I was like, no, like, news is not what I wanted. But the more intrigued I got, because of the work that was put on a day-to-day basis for the community. And not every day is your best story or your favorite story or the brightest story. And there's something about the rush and the breaking news as to on breaking news days as well. There's something about what's going on out there, and the networking that you create with so many people, and just always remembering to have respect with everybody. So I don't know. I just observed. I interned. The more I interned, the more news stations I went to. I was in RTDNA, and I was secretary, and then vice president, and then president, and then we just like owned it, and would go to like as many stations as we could per
Mhm.
year, just to network and learn and learn and learn and keep inspiring ourselves. Um, and I just got so soaked into it, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I'm a big family person, so I know, like, I didn't want to do it at first, because I didn't want to put myself in a position where I had to leave and was going to like not be all in, just because I was going to be upset about certain things. And before you knew it, I was like, I'm just so passionate about doing this that if I have to leave, it's okay. You're happy when you're making the sacrifice in your own terms.
Mhm.
And so I just remember I was like, all right, like, I have to learn, I have to do what I have to do, and I'm gonna have to leave to a small market. I was also very like, I learned a lot about markets, companies, because there's way more than just being at a certain station. It's not about being at Fox or being at ABC. There's way more to the local news, which there's just way more to what it takes to be in the news. And I think you have to be aware of who you work for, what company you work for, what their values are, because you can be in the same market and one station is completely different than the other one. So I taught myself about all of that. So when I applied, I knew who I was applying to, what I was doing, why I was looking at that station, why that one mattered, even though this one was a bigger number than this one. And I just got so wrapped up and knew I wanted to be a reporter at all costs by my senior year. It took me 3 years of college and 3 years of networking and interning and just going for it and following my gut to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. But for 3 years,
Mhm.
I was going to like conferences in Florida, conferences in LA, I was going to all these EIJ conferences, but I still couldn't say I want to be a reporter. But I wanted
Mhm.
to be there and I wanted to learn, but I wasn't sure, but something made me want to be there. And then sure enough, senior year, I was like, I'm going for this because if I'm going to go for reporting, it's going to be in the beginning of my career. I don't
Mhm.
know if I want to stay as if I want to be a reporter forever, but who knows? Because 4 years ago, I didn't know I wanted to be a reporter, and yet here I am. So yeah, I don't even know if that answered your question. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I just got so sucked into it and always followed my gut about TV. And they
Mhm.
say when you network and you look and you go and you put yourself out there is when you really say yes or no. I even interned for a Hispanic local like nonprofit show, which they have a YouTube channel and they came out on certain shows. It was called Movimiento Latino. Super sweet people to work with, and I learned so much. I got to host like segments in Spanish, like my wanna be despierta America feeling, and I liked it, but I wasn't as happy as I thought I was going to be. Even though that isn't despierta America, it's still
Mhm.
the sense of putting the work in to learn and being passionate about it. I was like, what am I doing for people? And I learned a
Yeah.
lot though, but I just put myself out there in so many ways. And now it's about people. I literally love meeting people. So this quarantine thing really sucks because I
Yeah.
will talk to anybody. I can have the worst day, but when I'm interviewing someone, my whole mood changes. Like I won't ever reflect
Mhm.
that with them because it's about the story that you're telling, literally, and it's about what you're doing. And I don't know, I love talking to people.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. I'm a bit of the same way. In fact, if it wasn't for me doing news, I probably would still be that shy kid. I was so shy. I used to be so shy, and then this just doing through news. I started as a news
Oh,
photographer, so I had to go
yeah.
out there, and I had to.
Talk to
Sometimes I went out,
people.
yeah, because I would go out with to breaking news in my early days without a reporter. It was all me, so I had to do the interviewing, and I had to talk to police officers and law enforcement and firefighters, and I just had to do basically the camera work and be the reporter at the same time. So a
Yep.
bit of
You were an
MMJ work.
NSJ. Yep.
Yeah, and that my job depended on it. So I did it, and eventually just broke out of my shy shell, and so I'm not afraid to go out and talk to people.
Yeah,
But
that's
so for
awesome.
yeah, but for some folks it comes naturally, and that's awesome. It's a good trait to have. And what did your parents think about all this when you told them, "Hey, yeah, I think I want to be a reporter. I'm gonna go for it." What was their reaction?
They were not surprised at all. They tell people, "Oh, she gets paid for what she does." Like or they say she gets paid for doing what she loves most, talking.
Hmm.
I've always been a chatterbox since I was little, and
Hmm.
they always knew like that. My parents have always been very, I guess, the supportive. They've always been very supportive about what I want to do, and I've always been very like my parents are very wise. They've never been the parents to be like, you have to do this, or have you done this, or should you do this? They just encourage me, they motivate me, and I'm the kid that's always been like, Mom, I'm gonna sign up for soccer again. Mom, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And they're like, okay, okay, okay. And always support me. They never said no. And if
Hmm.
they thought the answer was no, they were very wise about giving me their thoughts and making me question things or making me really make sure I knew why I was deciding what I was deciding.
Hmm.
I remember like commuting was an option for me my first year of college where, it was a serious conversation. Like I lived like 30, 40 minutes away. And I was like, no, I was like, I don't want to commute. And they were like, why? And I was like, because I have to have internships. I need a network. I need a job in TV. Like I wasn't even like try
Hmm.
because I'm really close to my parents. So I wasn't like, I want to leave or I don't want to live here. I literally was like, I'm going to intern somewhere my first year. What are you talking about? I can't commute and intern. And they were like, oh, okay. We're just wondering, we just want to talk about it. And sure enough, my first year, first semester, I was at PBS. And I was so excited. And I still have like mentors there. Sarah, she is someone that worked in news, amazing Emmy Award winning producer. And to this day, like she helps me out so much, but she was the person I met through that internship my freshman year. But yeah, no, my parents have always been very, very supportive. And again, if there's something they're going to question, they really make me think about it on my own. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. It just works. And we're all just very, very close. So what their opinion means a lot to me. And they've just always been my biggest cheerleaders with everything. And so it worked. And I remember when I told them about Texas, my dad was like, all right, well, I guess we're taking a road trip to Texas. But they were very excited, that at that point, my dad's like, have you looked for a place? Da, 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 da. What do we need? Have you thought this? Like, I've been, because my dad's always helped me so much and my mom too. Like, what are we going to do about moving? Blah, blah, blah. And so they have just always been supportive. Like, I cannot think of a time when they ever said no. But they've also raised me in a way where I'm never going to be like, I want to go to this school that I can't afford without knowing what degree I want. Like my brain just always work different. I don't know what it is. I tell them I'm a child that's never given them problems, but no, they've just always been so supportive from day one about everything, from joining color guard and sports to moving to Texas. It's been the same.
Well, it sounds like you're the perfect child.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Sometimes I like joke and I'm like, I'm the best, and my mom's like, oh God. Like, she's like, stop. And I have a little brother. So my mom's always like, you're my favorite daughter and you're my favorite son. And we're like, wow, there's only two of us anyway. But no, I am not perfect, but I've just had very, very, very supportive and wise parents, and we're just all really, really close. They're literally like my best friends.
And are they in California at the moment, or do they travel and stay with wherever you go?
No, they're in California.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Okay, well, if they're in California, you've been to the Central Coast. Essentially, you've been to well, not really the Central Coast. I shouldn't call it that. It's just more like Central California,
Central Valley.
Central Valley, yeah. And then to Texas. So, I mean, not that it's like super far or anything, but how did you deal with that departure from your parents, going from, living with them and being so close to them to all of a sudden now moving a couple of states away, and who knows where your career is going to take you. So how do you cope with that? Did you have like any a process that you go through to, calm yourself and know that things are going to be okay?
I don't even know how to answer that. When I lived at home, I don't know. Like, I'm very, very close to my family. Like, literally, we talk every day. I bug them every day. Like, I FaceTime every single one of them every single day, or they FaceTime me. I'm very, very close to my mom and dad and my brother since I was little. And so, if anything, that made moving easier, as weird as that sounds.
Really?
Because I remember in college, my first couple of years, I was like, there's no way, like, I can't leave my family. Like, I can't imagine not being close to them, like a drive away. Like, that was a big, big deal for me. And I mean, I was in my teens at the time, early 20s, probably my teens. And I don't know what it is. You get to a point where I think when you really are passionate about what you want to do, and that's the motivation that drives you to do what you want, and you have your parents' support, it's a huge blessing. It's just a huge blessing, and it's all you need. So mom and dad aren't going anywhere. They're always going to be there. So it made my move easier because I had them and my little brother support to make this move for my career. You know, they always said, like,
Mhm.
we don't want you to stay if you're going to have a job you hate, because your job is your life. It's what
Mhm.
you spend the most hours of the day doing. So what are you going to be passionate about? You know, what are you going to wake up and want to do every day, even on your bad days? Or what are your goals? Because, you know, and just having goals and having a step to look forward to is always going to be a motivation with anything, whether it's your career or your gym goals or just anything. Um, and so for me, it made life, it actually made it easier once I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Um, because my mom and dad were like, okay, let's do it. Like, you know,
Mhm.
because they knew that I was going to do everything I could to do it. And that if I wasn't feeling comfortable or something didn't feel right, I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't just going to be like, well, let's go. And like, no, it was a hard decision because I did have a job offer in Fresno after Bakersfield. So imagine that, like having right after Bakersfield being able to, you know, stay home. Um,
Mhm.
and then choosing Texas over that, considering that Texas was a smaller market. I did it for me because, you know, it was a decision I made because I wanted the small market feel. I wanted this experience. I wanted to grow where nobody knew me. And it's weird too because I live alone here in Texas and I love it. Like, out of all people who lived with my best friends all through college, love them to death. I love living with my best friends. I miss them. We were not the fighting type. And I lived with my best friends. I always loved having someone to chat to, or you know, you run into their room and talk about life, where they, you know, you meet up, make dinner together. And so I was a little worried to live alone, and I love it. Like, I'm a clean freak, like my mom. I like keeping things the way I want them. I love having my peace, and moving was easier having my mom and dad's support 100% and having just their encouragement. And so, if anything, it was like, I'm doing this for me, and they're cheering me on the sidelines the whole way. So, that I think is what made it so much easier than I ever expected. So, I've been fine.
Mhm.
Like, I have not been depressed, I have not been sad. I mean, it's weird. I have not felt homesick. It's weird because I'm very, very, like I said, I'm a big homebody person, but I've never felt like, oh my God, I need to hop in a plane and go home. And it's not that I don't miss my family, but you're so busy, you know, journalism, you're so busy every single day that I, like, literally, I just renewed my lease. And I was talking to my dad about it, and he goes, has it been a year already? Like, he literally was like, we just signed your paperwork. Like, we
Yeah.
just moved you in. Like, are you what? And I was like, right? Like, are you kidding me? And I think since I like FaceTime them every single day, it's normal. Like, I just,
Yeah.
they're there. I know mom and dad, I know my mom, it hits mom home. It hits mom home a little more. You know, as
Mhm.
a Hispanic mother, you never want your children to leave.
Yep.
You really don't. You're like, community college it is, but not my mama. But I know it hurts her a little bit more, but she's so proud. And I know she is. And you're going to make me cry.
Oh, no, no, I totally understand the whole parent thing, the Latino parents. My mom's the same way. It makes it hard to go visit sometimes because even though she doesn't live far from LA,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, it's like less than 2 hours. It's a day trip.
Right.
And when we leave her apartment to basically drive back home, yeah, she
Sad.
tends to cry and
Yeah.
everything. So so it is heartbreaking to see your parents go through that, but at the same time it shows you how much they appreciate you, how much they love you and care for you, and to see them to see you leave them, that's also saying how much they believe in what you're doing. So I think you're heading in the right direction. I'm really proud of what you've accomplished since we first started talking about you getting into the news business. Your stories are awesome. Your work ethic is amazing. And I think I just want to take the last few minutes here
Mhm.
to kind of throw some questions at you,
Yeah.
like your favorite stuff.
Yes.
So I'll just ask you like what your favorite thing is, and we'll go in topics, and then you just answer them. This
Cool.
way
That works.
we'll get to know a little bit more about you
Okay.
and on the personal side. All right,
Okay.
you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first question, and I'll just list them from here after you answer.
Okay. That works.
Okay, favorite color?
Fuchsia.
Fuchsia.
Yeah, because it's
What
not
is that?
purple and it's not, it's like, because it's not purple and it's not pink. It's like that dark pink, but it's not dark pink. It's fuchsia. Some
Uh,
people will argue with me and say it's a purple, but it's not. It's a dark pink.
All right, favorite ice cream?
Vanilla. Literally plain vanilla. I love it.
I'm the same way, and I get made fun of
Me
because of
too.
that.
And I love it,
Yeah,
especially here in Texas. Bluebell ice cream. I'm hooked. I'm so obsessed with Bluebell vanilla ice cream.
yeah. I mean, vanilla is that nice base that you can really just make anything you want out of it. You can
Yes.
put fresh fruit in there. You could put chocolate syrup, caramel syrup.
Yep.
I mean, whatever you want. Vanilla is a great base.
Yep. And my dad and my grandpa love vanilla, so I just grew up thinking I love vanilla too, but I really do love it. But we love it.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite song?
I don't really have a favorite song.
Is there one stuck in your mind currently that you kind of keep singing all day?
Oh, I just sang in the club because it was my friend's birthday. I literally drove by their apartment to drop off cake and stuff, and then we like played it. So that's been in my song. We played it super loud in the parking lot with social distancing, for his birthday. But it's not my favorite song. I am weird. I love listening to banda and I love listening to country music and I love listening to Christian music and I love listening to just like punk rock sometimes and then like Latino pop and I am all over the place with music. I love it all.
Yeah. I think the song I've been like kind of singing in my head a lot lately is Holy Water.
Okay, by who?
I forget the name of the Christian band. I always like
I
get
have
confused
heard
with
it. It comes out in
yeah.
like uh what's the oh my god. K-Love, the
Yeah.
radio, K-Love.
Yeah, I think it's We the Kingdom who sings the Holy Water.
Yes. There's an artist or a band. Oh my God, what's it called? I can't think real quick.
No worries.
For song and
Honest-
country or
yeah.
something like that. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah. Yeah,
For
yeah,
King and
I know
Country,
what you're talking about.
they're amazing. I love their music.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what favorite dish? Okay, your favorite dish to cook. What is it?
My favorite dish to cook.
Yes.
Are tacos considered a dish? I
Sure
literally,
are.
I literally have came home from work at like 11:30 and make tacos because I'm just craving them, and I have not found a place in Texas with tacos as good as California. I have been really
Yeah.
disappointed, truck after truck, so I make my own tacos. No, I love making food. Like today, I literally mixed this salad and had avocado and some veggies and this chicken that I seasoned and had like marinating. I was really proud. So I like
That sounds
making
good.
different stuff. I'm not like a chef or anything. I'm basic, but I can survive.
Oh yeah, then that's all that counts. Okay, what is your favorite article of clothing to wear?
Gym tights and t-shirts.
There you go. Mine is like this little it's like a Disneyland Mickey Mouse sweater. I
Love
love
it.
that thing.
I'm just so comfortable in gym tights and jackets and sweaters and t-shirts. Dressing up is painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what is your favorite saying?
Oh man, I have a lot of stuff I say.
What's one that just the first one that's popping into your mind right now?
Oh man. I feel like I don't even know if this is a saying, but like with all the good, there's with all the bad, there's good. Because I've been talking to
Mm,
my friends about certain stuff, and obviously, like some people are a little more negative right now during this time, or upset about certain things. My little cousin's not getting his graduation ceremony, and it hit him because he is like involved in leadership, was ready to do like the singer lip dance and go to prom, and he's just so involved that for him not going to school hit hard because he's
mm-hmm.
just this active, involved kid and has made his senior year the best possible because that's just his personality. And it all got taken away with this. So I'm like, okay, you know
Mm,
what? You are not the only person. There are thousands of high school seniors going through the same exact thing. And it's something that you're all going to remember. Health comes first. And with all the bad comes the good. So either
mm-hmm.
you think about it that way and prepare for college and maybe have a reunion afterwards and cope with this, or let it get to you and just be upset. So I don't know. I think just being positive for everything.
Yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't be positive every day, but we can try.
Exactly. Okay, what is your favorite movie?
Mm, do all Disney movies count? I love Disney
Yep.
movies. Like the other day, I watched Cars 3, and I'm like, yes. And I've watched it 1,000 times because my little brother grew up watching Cars. Um,
Mhm.
I
What movie has made you cry out of all the Disney
all of
movies?
them. I cry for all of them. I know Coco has me like drowning in my own tears, but all of them, like they all have a message. You know what I mean? They all have some sort of inspirational message about
Yeah.
life or family or you know Frozen 2. Some people like Frozen 1 better. I love Frozen 2. I'm like, you go
Yeah.
girl in your frozen horse across the ocean. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, I just every movie has some message. Like right now I'm watching All American on Netflix, and
Mm.
I cried last night in the ending of the first season because it's just so you got to find the message in these in these movies and these like stuff. And I get all caught up in them. I'm like yelling. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, why are you lying? And I get so caught up, and like everything makes me cry.
Oh,
I am a
yeah.
cancer, so
Yeah. No, same here. I would be like singing, because some of these songs on some of these Disney movies are so catchy. So I'd be like singing stuff like Coco, for
Yeah.
example. So I would start singing a song, and then all of a sudden in the middle of it, my voice quivers, and then I just go silent.
Yes. You're like, I'm just gonna just gonna keep working.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, darn those Disney movies.
I love Disney movies.
Anything Pixar will get me.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite TV show? We go from movies to TV show.
Grey's Anatomy.
Oh
Love,
yeah.
love, love, love. I cried. Um, I watch a lot of stuff, but that's like the one thing that pops out, even though I haven't seen it. Oh my god! And The Office.
Oh yes.
I love The Office. Like the first couple, I was like, "What is this?" And then afterwards, I was like in love. Like I can't tell you how many memes my brother and I use of The Office. Like my mom and dad can't even relate, and him and I are like dying because we know those faces. But I love The Office. I also liked.
That. Mhm.
Oh my god, I can't think right now. It's very similar to The Office. I can't think. And it's
Parks and
not,
Rec.
no, I was gonna say it's not the park one. It's I love
There's
I think. Oh my god, it's about a girl who lives with guys in this apartment complex.
oh New Girl.
Yes, I love New Girl. Oh my god, I love New Girl. And there's another show that I just watched that was Shameless. I love Shameless. I've done with all those, but I can
Yeah.
I love them.
Uh, Have you gotten into the Tiger King?
I I did watch it, but I wasn't like on my couch staring at the TV. I had it like super loud in the background while I was like doing other stuff. Because I always play something like instead of listening to music, I always play something in the background while I'm literally doing anything, like whether it's doing my laundry or just cleaning, or I'm always playing something so my apartment's not too quiet. And so I played that and I would pay attention to it, but
Mhm.
not enough to really be like, it was Carol. Like, I can't relate to those memes because I didn't really, really focus on it. But I did have it playing and I did listen to it, but I wouldn't want to rewatch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
totally.
got it. Bye.
What is your favorite time of the day?
Night. Literally, like, I think working night side,
Hmm.
like, you become a little night owl. Um,
Yeah.
but I,
Well,
go
mhm.
ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you deal with a lot less too, especially if you're at work and you're working at nighttime. It's less people you have to deal with, less people you have to answer to, and you seem to get work done a lot better
Yeah,
without all these distractions. So for me, I would say the same thing as
yeah.
you.
And
Nighttime is the best.
I also like, believe it or not, I love working mornings. When I was in Bakersfield, I worked mornings. I was a morning reporter, and I loved it. Like, I could be super tired, but the morning it's your team as well. And when I was over there,
Mhm.
like the photographer, amazing. You know, the anchors, the EP, everyone in the morning
Mhm.
team, I appreciated and respected so much. So it was just, it was a different grind as well. It was a different hustle for sure. Um, I just loved mornings because I knew I was going into work with my stuff set. And that is
Yeah.
something that drives me insane. Going in at 2 o'clock without knowing what you're doing takes me a while
Yeah.
to wrap my head around versus
Mhm.
morning show. You don't go to bed and you don't relax until your week is set or until your stuff is scheduled, and then you really do sleep in peace. At least that's how I took
Yeah.
it. So I really liked my mornings when I did experience it in Bakersfield. But time of day
Yeah.
though, I really do like nighttime. I love just like popping out of the shower and having a clean place and just laying and watching TV and not looking at my phone for once.
Yeah. No, there's something definitely like that I like about waking up early in the mornings. I mean, it's really hard for me to do, but when I do, there's just nothing better than like a nice little cup of coffee with
Yeah,
some breakfast and not having to worry about, necessarily going to work or whatnot. But like I just love camping. So I used to
yeah.
when I went camping, I would just used to wake up like at 6 in the morning like
Oh my god.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I love camping. That's one thing I do miss about being back home. Like we're right next to, Sequoia National Park is literally
Hmm.
minutes away from my town, and Yosemite is a couple hours away. So camping is like a family thing. So I that's one thing I do miss.
Well, having said that, what is your favorite season?
Season?
Yeah.
I'm a big summer girl. Like
Mhm.
I'm a big summer girl. I don't like the cold. My toes get cold, my ears get cold. I can't think. That's one
Well,
thing too. When I moved to Texas, like any state where it snows was like out of my list, if possible. If possible.
yeah.
I do not like wintertime. Fall's okay, but I'm a big summer girl. Like I'm used to the heat.
Yeah, and I guess in the summer you can go out to these parks and go camping.
Yomp, and go hiking and you die, but I mean just pour some water on your face. I like the heat. I mean, I grew up in the Central Valley where it's hot as ever.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I have not experienced. Well, actually, I have experienced like triple digit heat. There was a digital conference that I went to some years ago to Phoenix, and it was dead smack in the middle of the summer, and so it was like 113 degrees. It was just nuts. But
Yeah.
in Southern California, it doesn't tend to get up that high. Certain areas do, like the San Fernando Valley.
Mhm.
So this is the first time in the LA area that I'm gonna have to experience a summer. Normally, I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, so that's a nice little temperature weather all year round. But we'll see how it turns out today. I'm not a fan of like super heat.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Not if you're born in Santa Barbara.
I know I perform. Oddly enough, I perform better in cold weather, as long as it's not, there's no wind or anything. Like I've gone to New Hampshire in the winter time, and there's been snowfalls, and it could be 0 degrees, and I don't feel it. But the moment there's a little chill, like in the air, a little wind chill factor there, then yeah, it's not it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
But
Things are crazy here in Texas. Like this morning, I was running errands with
mhm.
my best friend, and I'm in gym tights and a t-shirt, and right now it's pouring rain.
Oh
I'm
man,
like, oh hey,
is it light rain or is it like super heavy rain?
it comes and goes. Like it's storm season, or I think it's starting.
Uh huh.
It's either starting or it's started.
Mm.
So the weather kind of changes. But I know I moved here right in the middle of the heat, and the only thing that got me was the humidity, because in
Oh yeah.
the valley it's dry heat and here it's humid. So my parents, when they stayed with me like a week before starting work, we went to the zoo just to like explore everything Waco. It was
Uh huh.
so humid. My dad was like, bye, have fun. Nope. Like it was bad. Like my little brother was like, oh no, you're gonna live in like an oven. So it was different to feel that humidity. It was like it hit me. But I got used to it because it's heat, and
Yeah.
I can't do cold.
Yeah. So are you a Mac or PC girl?
Oh my God, Mac all the way. Like we have PCs for work, and it's terrible. That's not terrible. I'm used to it now, but I love Macs. I love all things Apple. I love
What do
syncing
you like about them?
everything. I just love syncing everything together.
Mm-hmm.
Like my phone, my iPad, and my one thing though, you would think I'd have like an Apple Watch for being an Apple girl, and I don't have an Apple Watch for
Is
being
that
an Apple
in
girl.
the near future? Are you gonna be
Yeah,
getting one?
I mean, I just haven't been. I don't know why I haven't gotten one. Like,
Yeah. Well, here's the reason why I got one, and I mean, it's changed now because of my job, but the main reason I got an Apple Watch was because when you go out and you're hanging out with people, and it looks kind of weird for you to be checking your
all
phone
the
for
time.
a time. Yeah, because then the other person might feel like, oh, either I'm boring or
Rude, yeah.
yeah, it's rude. So then if I have the Apple Watch, I can kind of just,
Check
kind of
everything.
exactly, without even having to necessarily, look down for long periods of time or making it super obvious. So
Yeah, I don't
I got it just for that,
know.
basically.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Notifications.
I've always wanted one, but I haven't. I literally don't know what it is. I just haven't gotten one. But
Well, yeah.
it's in the bucket. No, what's the list? It's on my list.
List of cool gadgets to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and strangely enough, I love Apple products, but I hate their computers, their laptops.
Why?
Yeah, because only for the reason that they don't have those legacy ports, and then you
Yeah.
have to end up buying other.
Well, those are the
Um,
new ones. My Mac is the one before you had to get like the little port to insert everything in.
yeah, see, if you have one of those computers, keep it as much as
Yeah,
you
but
can,
mine
because
is
yeah,
not like
you're totally right.
super fat one. There was like a really, really thick one
Uh
that
huh.
came out, and then mine was like the thinner one, and then right after was like the Airs, and then right after were the ones with no ports and stuff. So I love
Oh
mine. I'm like,
man.
no one touch it. No, no one do anything. I don't like, honestly, I will kind of talk a little dirt on them. I don't like that we have to buy ports to use for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I'm like, really, Apple? Like, okay, you're cool. Like, I still need to put these headphones in my camera and my phone at the same time, or minutes of
Yeah.
difference. I can't change like those little things. I'm like, it's an extra step that you would think Apple would not make us do.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the price, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
However, for the iPads, the iPhones, yeah. I mean, basically everything else. Like I'm a big fan of. I have an iPhone, I have an Apple Watch, and I have an iPad Pro, and I use them constantly. Well,
Yeah.
especially my iPad Pro and my iPhone, which
Yeah.
which I've started using for more iPhone videography now that
Mhm.
the iPhone 11 Pro has the three cameras and
Yes.
better like optics. I mean, it
Quality.
was just it's so nice. And then I just use my iPad Pro to transfer my video and over, and then just edit on the iPad. So yeah. So I get it too. I love PC computers because it allows me to do things like hook up hard drives that are
Yeah.
USB
Yeah, that's true.
and yeah, and also live stream.
Mhm.
c- uh because I can hardwire the computer. Like I think the new computers, the new MacBook Pros,
Mhm.
I don't even think they come with like an Ethernet cable, so it's all Wi-Fi, and that's
Mhm.
not really good if you're planning on live streaming things. But
Exactly, you need the
yeah, well, hopefully they fix it. But at least we know for now you're a Mac girl.
I am, even though for work we use PC, but we make it
Yeah.
work.
All right, last question here. Eliza, what is your favorite Instagram feature?
Feature,
Yeah.
um, honestly, I really like their story because sometimes you wanna put stuff that you don't want it to be on your page forever, but you just wanna share it. So, I love the story, but I will say, like, the Instagram story made me not use my Snapchat story anymore. Like, I haven't
Hmm.
posted in Snapchat in months or maybe even years. I cannot remember the last time I posted anything on Snapchat
Yeah.
anymore. I'm like, I don't care. I'm
Yeah, I tried.
more of a
Yeah. No, I tried going to the Snapchat. I tried going back to it one day to revive it, and yeah, it only took one post, and I said, "Yeah, I'm done."
I'm like,
So
I don't have time for this. Like, no. Honestly, like, I'm not even a big Facebook person. I literally only have a Facebook for work. I remember actually when I first talked to you for advice, like
Mhm.
right before graduating, and I was, trying to get a job at your station that I didn't get, but it's fine. I'm not salty
They're
in
lost.
any way. Um, I remember getting a very nice phone call though from you and other people, but I was still like, okay, it's not meant to be. It's fine. But I remember asking you about Facebook because I did not have a very like professional Facebook kind of like profile because I was like, I'm not going to post my college stuff. It's not good. Like I'll put the
Mhm.
best things I want on my reel, but I wasn't a big fan of like posting things that I knew was kind of like training mode in my mind. Um like I was like, no. And so it was hard because I knew that, you at the time were telling me, be aware that Facebook is like your best friend when you're in news. And boy, like you were so right. But at the time
Mhm.
I was like, what am I gonna do? Like Oscar did this and I agree, but I don't have anything that I want to post in college. But you had a lot of requests for like starting off and you had so much advice that I used. But I just remember talking about social media being like such a big thing. And even then, like I love it
Yeah.
for work, but it's hard for me to use it
Yeah.
for personal stuff as much as I
Yeah.
would want. But I love Instagram. That's my
Mhm.
main thing.
Same here. I've gotten so comfortable with Instagram. Yeah, I mean, I still don't post like deep personal stuff, but I kind of just if I'm gonna go personal stuff, I tend to just want to have those moments to myself, not really post them anywhere. Just kind of live in the moment at the time. But for everything else, I do tend to have a little bit more fun with Instagram, and then I do have my Facebook page and Twitter that I really populate with news
Yeah.
that affects the community that people need to know about,
Mhm.
and I just use it for that. I rarely use it for anything else that I'm doing on the side or anything like that. It took me a while to kind of figure out, okay, what am I going to use these platforms for? Are they going to
Mhm.
be a mix of personal and news? Are they just going to be news? Are they going to be just personal? What am I going to use it for? And it wasn't until I went over to digital and became a digital director in Santa Barbara when I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to keep it simple. Facebook and Twitter are going to be for news. Twitter, mostly breaking news. And then I can, once I have something to share that's a little bit more beefed up, I
Mhm.
can post that on Facebook. But on Instagram, it's like, okay, this is a whole different feel. I can have a little bit more fun with this.
Yes.
And um, so yeah, I think Instagram has really come out on top with all of this, and to a point where I think nowadays you can ask certain people, hey, are you on Snapchat? What is that?
Yes,
Um,
yes. Or even like, are you a TikTok fan?
I've never gotten into that, and I don't know if I actually will. How about you?
I'm not. I don't have a TikTok, but my little cousin, my coworkers send me some TikTok stuff, which is hilarious. And then like a lot of people upload their TikTok stuff to Instagram lately. So I see like the
Hmm.
same video over and over, and I'm like, okay, I thought I didn't have a TikTok account. Um, I think some of the stuff is hilarious. Some people can just pull it off, but I don't have an account. And that's too
Yeah.
much time. My cousin was like, it took me forever to learn that dance. And I'm like, oh boy, well, you're in quarantine, so have fun.
Yeah, totally. But now at least we know you're an Instagram girl, but
I love it.
over everything else.
Yeah.
So, having said that, actually, so where can people find you? Where would you like people that are listening to this to connect with you on social media?
Well, my Instagram, my username, don't judge me. It's literally Miss underscore Eliza Navarro because I could not get a handle with just my name. So for some reason
Hmm.
I put Miss and it's just always stayed. But yeah, Instagram's the place where I just love being myself. I think Instagram is really where I portray my personality. Always
Yeah.
remembering I represent a television station as well. But not only
Hmm.
that, I am the kind of person to be like, would I want my grandma and grandpa to see this?
Yeah,
Which most
exactly.
of the time, believe it or not, I have a huge family group chat. And a lot of the stuff I post on Instagram, I send in the group chat. Just because my grandma and grandpa don't have Instagram, or a lot of my family members have Facebook, and then some of them have Instagram. But I'm like, just in case you guys miss my face, or here's my look at my flowers or my plants. So I do think about that stuff though. Like, what would I want my loved ones to see? Because it's your personality at the end of the day, whether you work for news or not. That's
Yeah.
my perspective though, and how I was raised. But everyone has the freedom to do what they want on their profiles. But I'm a big like family girl, and my personality is all over it. I love people. Um, so yeah, and I don't have like
Hmm.
I don't plan it. Like I know Instagram has become this thing where I have some friends that have amazing Instagrams where their game is amazing and on point, and I love it. But I don't have the time or the brains to think like that. But I applaud them and respect and love their look and style on their page. Um,
Uh-huh.
like I have two coworkers, three, four that are just big, big Instagram fans in regards to their like talent and their pictures. And they come out so good. I love them, literally love them, but it's not me. But I love
Hmm.
that they own it and are so respectful and just have a big, I guess,
Yeah.
like talent in that. I don't know what it is. Everyone's got their thing, but I love Instagram. I'd rather
Yeah.
see. I'm more of a visual person. Maybe that's why I'm in broadcast. Like I'm more of a visual person.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what the platform's there for. Anything visual is more appealing, I think. You can tell a story with an image, and that's I think what you and I are kind of excel in because of what we're doing as a
Mhm.
career. Eliza, one last thing. I
Yeah.
just before we wrap this up, I just want to give you the last word. Is there anything that you want to add to our conversation here today that I didn't ask?
No, I think you covered everything. I guess just thank you for making me cry. Um,
Oh
like
no.
anything with my family just makes me like you hit the spot because I'm just so close to them, and I love them so much. But no, I just, this is like, I told you this on our last chat, like this time right now is something the entire world will remember, and we just have to get through it and look at things with different perspectives. Thank you for asking me questions about myself, and you kind of make me realize like what I've been through, because never in a million years did I think I'd be here, at least not in college. So it's just crazy because you never know where you're going to end up, and time passes so fast. So whatever anyone wants to do, if you're happy about it or you're unsure, but your gut is telling you to follow it for some reason, do it. Whether it ends up being what you wanted or not, you'll never know until you try it. So I'm the kind that would rather try and say, well, I didn't like it, than I never tried. So,
Well, thank you for. Well, actually, one last thing on my end is it Eliza or Eliza?
Eliza. It's weird. It's oh yeah, we did talk about this. It's Eliza in English and it's Elisa in Spanish. I was raised being called Eliza because of the show Eliza Thornberry.
I remember that.
My cousins all called me Eliza, and it just stuck. I went to a bilingual school growing up where I lived by the coast. I was born in Santa Cruz County, and I remember, everyone called me Elisa. And then when I transferred and moved to the Central Valley, it was all English courses only. And I remember people asking me what my name was, and I remember thinking, oh my God, my cousins call me Eliza because that's my name in English. So I'm just going to tell these people Eliza because they don't speak Spanish. And so I told people like, oh, my name's Eliza. And they're like, okay. And so I literally, because I moved when I was in first grade, grew up being called Eliza by everybody. But I was also called Elisa by my mom, my grandma, certain cousins, certain friends who speak Spanish call me Elisa on a daily basis. So I grew up being both. Like I listened to both equally, as weird as that sounds. And when I worked for Telemundo, anytime I was talking to people who only spoke Spanish at a booth for an event, I wouldn't talk in Spanish and then change my dialect and was like, Eliza. I would say, soy Elisa, like, hola, ¿cómo está? I always kept it in Spanish as a natural thing to do. And when I interned at that Hispanic show, I introduced myself as Elisa in all my segments. So I'm just used to it. My brother calls me Eliza. Sometimes he yells at me and calls me Elisa.
I started this podcast recording with Eliza, so I think I'm gonna end it with Elisa.
Yeah, so I go by both, which is weird. It's a weird thing to explain because then they're like, "So what do you prefer?" And I'm like, like it's fine, but I can't. It would be weird for me to do a newscast and say Elisa if I'm speaking in English. The weirdest thing. It would feel very uncomfortable. And not that I'm not proud of my name in Spanish. I love my name. And I'm named after my grandma. So it means a lot to me. And I love when people can say my name right, when they say Elisa, not Alyssa.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go by both. But in news,
wonderful.
Eliza.
Well, I love Elisa too. I love pronouncing people. Yeah, I love pronouncing the names in Spanish properly. So it's like mine too. Everybody calls me Oscar, but my parents calls me Oscar. Yeah. In fact, there was a reporter. She was a Latina, and I worked with her in Santa Barbara, and she would always say Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it was awesome.
If I know someone, especially like one of my coworkers, her name's Talia, and everyone's like Talia, and I'm like, it's Talia, like it's Talia.
Yeah.
I try when it's in Spanish, I'll say it in Spanish.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, Elisa, well, thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. It was a real pleasure speaking with you today about your journey and your story.
Well, thank you for asking me about it, and being interested. It's not something we talk about often, especially when we're in the middle of this craziness. You just get so busy doing what you're doing that you don't think about what you've been through. So thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome, and thank you. And stay safe out there.
Yes, you too. Today I went to the store and HEB, and they had carts lined up and were only letting people go in at 10. Kind of what you told me that they were doing over there, but I had never experienced it. But I was running out of stuff, even though I stocked up a month ago. Well, it's been a month, so I'm like, oh, I need to go back. There's lines and tape everywhere, and I'm like, oh man. Some people still have I don't know what it is. They just just go right by you, and I'm like, hello, hi there.
Yeah, social distancing.
Yeah, I'm like, hi. But yeah, so stay safe out there too.
Don't forget to follow Elisa on social media. The links are on the description to this episode. And if you have any comments or questions regarding this episode or the podcast in general, send them to hangrymexicanpodcast at gmail.com. I would love to feature some of your comments on a later episode. And please rate the Hangry Mexican Podcast on Apple Podcasts and all other major platforms we are streaming on. The more you rate, the more ears this podcast will reach. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, good night, good luck.